Ladies and gentlemen, let's make this simple. No confusion, no noise. There are two national issues on the table right now. One is the impeachment discussion involving Vice President Sara Duterte, a question of whether an official should be held accountable for alleged misuse or irregularities involving public funds. That is serious. That belongs in courtrooms, in constitutional processes, in due investigation. But the other issue, it is something that hits every Filipino every single year. Flooding, destroyed homes, lost livelihoods, lives buried underwater that should never have reached their doors in the first place. Now listen carefully. If we focus only on one impeachment case, we are looking at one person. But if we investigate flood control corruption and failures, we are looking at a system that has been failing the entire country for years. Let's talk straight. You remove one official today. Flooding does not stop tomorrow. You finish one impeachment trial. Water still rises in the same communities. You win one political battle, and yet families are still climbing rooftops during storms. Because the real problem is not just who sits in the office. The real problem is projects that are promised but not finished. Budgets meant for flood control that disappear or get misused. Weak enforcement in public works, repeated failures across different administrations, and every failure has the same result. People suffer again and again and again. So yes, hold officials accountable. No debate there. But if we are serious, truly serious, about saving lives, then the priority should not just be political headlines. It should be the Blue Ribbon Committee going deep into flood control corruption and long-term public works failures. Because that is where the real damage is. That is where the real money goes. And that is where the real lives are lost when systems fail. So here is the hard truth. Impeachment may answer a political question, but flood control corruption answers a life or death national question. And if we ignore that, then every rainy season is not just a disaster. It is a repetition of a failure we already knew about, but chose not to fix. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to sit here and tell people who should legally be the next Senate president. That's for legal experts to determine. What I can say is simple. The law should be followed. If there are questions about who is legally entitled to the position, then those questions should be answered based on the law, not on politics, personal interest, or public opinion. Let's not bend the law. That's all for now. Bye.